we will see what are the applications of pulse width modulation and what are the various things that we can do by using pulse width modulation in this class. Pulse width modulation means changing the width of on pulse, thereby the average value of the voltage changes. Okay, so in this case, the average value of the analog volume changes from 0 to 5 volts. So you can see that the analog value, as the duty cycle changes, the average voltage gradually increases from 0 to 5 volts. This is how we generate analog output. So the first application is how do we control the brightness of light emitting diode or any lamp or bulb or whatever it is. So if you are going to use a light emitting diode, so you can use pin number 3 and you can directly connect the light emitting diode like this. If you are using a high voltage lamp, then we may have to use a transistor. So I use a transistor, the emitter I connect it to ground. I connect the lamp in the load circuit. So this is my collector. From the load, I connect the lamp. I connect the load voltage of 12 volt to 15 volt here. And on the base side, I connect the third pin. This is connected to pin number 3. This is connected to pin number 3. So this is a small LED. This is a small lamp. So the effect of that is if the duty cycle of this pulse changes, if this on period and off period, if this changes, therefore the average value, V average would change. Therefore, this results in brightness change of brightness. So that is the first thing. Let us check that one. Take a small light emitting diode. So I want to use the third pin. So pin mode 3 is configured as output. So I'm not going to use digital write. Rather, I'm going to use analog write. Third pin. Instead of giving a constant value of I am going to give a variable I. This I ranges from 0 to 250. So I put a for loop for I equal to 0, I less than 255, I plus plus, and this goes inside this for loop. Reduce the delay period to 100 milliseconds. In the third pin, we do analog write of I. So I starts from 0 and then set to 55. So the analog write function will generate a PWM pulse and it would vary the width of the pulse from 0 to 255, which is 0 to 100%. So declare what is I. So the brightness of LED changes from 0 to 255, which is 0 to 100%. It is not very visibly seen here. Maybe we can try a transistor. So we take a transistor. We take this. We take a bulb. So what is our connection? The collector is going to one end of the bulb. The other end of the bulb goes to the power supply. So where is the collector? So this is my collector. So one end of the collector goes to the bulb. The other end of the bulb goes to the power supply. And the ground of this power supply, we connect it to the ground of the system. I'm not using this LED anymore. I delete this. And the base terminal is controlled by our PWM pin, which is pin number 3. And the emitter is of course connected to ground. Right? So this power supply voltage, we will fix it at 15 volts. So the lamp is glowing darker and darker and darker. Again, it starts from 0. Maybe I would show you the PWM value. Serial dot begin 9600. Serial dot print line. So that would give us some. So you can see the on period here and the corresponding intensity of the lamp. So this is again starting from 0. I'm not sure whether you are able to visually see the intensity changing, but in practical scenario, you would see that the intensity of the lamp would change because of the variable analog voltage. So this is the case of the intensity of the lamp black. Okay, so that is my first application. Second application, let us control the speed of motor. Conceptually, the code remains the same for everything. Only thing is the hardware would change. So I can either use a motor driver like L293D, or I can simply use a transistor to control the motor. So in this case, I use a transistor. So I connect the motor in the collector. This is my motor, this is my collector, this is my emitter, and this is my base. The base terminal is powered by the third pin. This is supplying the PWM. As the PWM changes, the speed of the motor would change. As PWM changes, as the duty cycle speed change is directly proportional to pulse width modulation. So in this case, we can adjust the speed of the motor. So variable speed means you can do whatever change you want. If you want, suppose if you are driving the robot, if you want to drive the robot faster or slower, we can use the PWM signal. So this is controlling the speed of motor. So let me delete this. Sorry, I still need a transistor. Instead of bulb, let us take a motor. So the collector terminal of the motor, we connect it to the negative of the motor. The positive of this we connect it to the battery. So I take a 9-volt battery. So the positive of this I connect it to positive of the battery. Negative of the battery I connect it to ground. I hope you are able to correlate this circuit. The collector of the transistor goes to one end of the motor, which is the negative terminal of the motor. Negative terminal of the motor. Positive terminal of the motor goes to positive of the battery. Positive terminal of the battery. Negative terminal of the battery is shorted to ground. Emitter, of course, is already grounded. The base terminal is driven by the PWM pin. Okay. So for the same code, let us see what is the output. You can see that the pulse width modulation is now resulting in a change in speed. Okay. Instead of a constant speed, I can also show you the duty cycle change. So after reaching the maximum, it again starts from 0 RPM and then it starts again. Okay. So this is how we use PWM for changing the speed of the motor. So depending upon your requirement, speed requirement, you will supply a appropriate duty cycle. For 100% duty cycle, if the motor is rotating at say 14,000 RPM, for 50% duty cycle, the RPM will be half of that. So accordingly, you send a pulse of an appropriate duty. So if you want me to demonstrate that, I can do that. So instead of putting a for loop, okay, so I am writing a value of 255. That's a constant value here. And if you are going to run this one, I can see that this fellow is having a value of 17,552 RPM. This is corresponding to 100% PWM. Okay. I'm not using a for loop. I'm giving a constant value of 255 here. I hope you are seeing this value here. So this value I'm talking about. So this is giving me a RPM of 17,552 for 100% duty cycle. Suppose if I reduce this duty cycle to 50%, 50% means 128. So 0 to 127. So I reduce this to 127. Now if you see the RPM, it is 8,000 something. Previously it was 17,000 something. Now it has changed to 8,000 something, half of the RPM. This 8,000 will become 4,000 if you still reduce the PWM to 0 to 63. Now it becomes 4,000 something. So are you able to understand how to change the speed? So if instead of giving this one, if I give you a variable I and change this I from 0 to 255, I can see that the PWM continuously changes, resulting in changing in speed from 0 RPM to the fullest RPM of 17,000 something. Third application, what we are going to see today is controlling the sound of a buzzer. So we saw 3 different outputs and all of them are resulting in 3 different possible output devices. So I take a buzzer. A buzzer is essentially a sound generating device. The positive of the buzzer I connect it to pin number 3. This is supplying the PWM. So this is connected. The other end of the buzzer is connected to ground. So this will give you variable PWM. If will give you a variable tone here. As the pulse width modulation changes, the tone of the buzzer would change. Okay. Let us solve that one. So let me delete these batteries and other transistors and all because we don't need them. We take a buzzer. I have not changed the code, even a single line of code. For all these things, code remains the same. So third pin I connected to the positive, negative I connected to ground. Okay. So observe the serial monitor and have a note of the sound as well. Maybe the delay period is much higher, so I reduce the delay to 10. So if you are going to connect a buzzer, this results in variable tone. So we saw three different output devices. We saw how to change the light intensity. We saw how to change the speed. We also saw how to change the tone. So all these things depends upon the type of the output devices, but the input for all the three remains the same. So we supplied a pulse and we changed the duty cycle of the pulse. So the same program worked for all the three, but all the three gave you three different types of outcome. So the outcome depends upon what kind of peripheral device that you connect, but the input still remains the same. So in all these three problems, what we have done, we have changed the output by putting a for loop. What if I want to control that by using a control device? Let us say I want to put a potentiometer here in the analog input from the input side, and I connect this to any analog pin, say A2. By changing this potentiometer, I want to control the PWM. Okay, so if I want to do it that way, how do you want to do it? Okay, let me do that one for you. Let me take this fellow. So this is our motor circuit. Okay, so our motor circuit was actually resulting in a change in speed of the motor. What this speed of the motor is changing by putting a for loop here, isn't it? So if you see the code, we are actually by putting a for loop, it is continuously changing from 0 to 100%. What if I want the user to change that by giving the PWM that I wanted? So I am connecting a potentiometer in the input. So whenever I change the potentiometer, the speed should change. So I'm just adding a user input here. So let me take a potentiometer. So here is the potentiometer. So the variable end of that I connect it to. So analog terminal A2, wherever it is. That is my signal. One end we connect it to power supply. Other end we connect it to ground. So it's a potentiometer. So whenever I change the potentiometer, I want the speed should change. That is my objective. So we cannot use this for loop any longer. So I am removing that. So first of all, I have to get the user input, isn't it? So how do I get the user input? It's not linking. I am just deleting all these for loops. So this is also I'm doing. So integer analog value. So analog value equal to, I have to read the sensor value, or you can give this as part value. So part value is equal to, how do I get it? Analog read. I am reading the value from the sensor, isn't it? So analog read, which pin I have connected? A2. I have connected this analog read and assigned that to part value. So this part value I have to give it to analog write. So can I give the part value directly here? So what do you think of this? Can I give the part value to analog write of third pin with part value? What do you think about that? Is it technically correct? I get the part value from analog read and I analog write with the same part value. Is that technically correct? No. So why do you say no? What is the range of part value if you read the analog value from the potentiometer? So analog value ranges from 0 to 1023, correct? 0 to 1023. So what is the range of analog write? What is the range of analog write? 0 to 255. Very good. 0 to 1023, we have to convert it to 0 to 255, isn't it? So one way of doing that is you can just take that value and divide that by 255. That is a straightforward way of doing it. Or you have a function, built-in function. I declare a new variable called PWM. I create a PWM value. Listen here, PWM is equal to, there is a built-in function in Arduino called map function. What this map function will do, it will take a value. Which value we want to map? The part value. Okay, so where is this? Yes. So I am discussing about this map function. Map of part value I want to map. What is the range of part value? It starts from 0 and it ends at 1023. So this range I want to convert to which range? 0 to 250. So this is the range of the signal what I am trying to map. This is the signal which I want, 0 to 255. So this result will be saved in PWM. So the PWM will have a value of 0 to 255 depending upon the analog value. So to prove that, let us not use analog write. Let us not use PWM. Let us simply read analog value and plot that part value to serial port. Okay? So I just read the I just read the analog read and then plot it in the serial window. Okay. So let us see what is the range of that. So initially it is 0. Initially 0. So once I increase the value of potentiometer, the potentiometer value is giving an analog value that is converted into digital. So the digital value is ranging from 0 to a maximum of 1023. I hope you are seeing this 1023. So the minimum value of this analog is 0. So this analog 0 results in digital 0. This analog 5 volt results in 1023. So the range is 1023. So this 0 to 1023, I wanted to convert it into 0 to 255, which is what I am using a map function. So what this map function does, it takes this spot value, which is ranging from 0 to 1023, and map that to 0 to 255. So this mapped value, I am saving it to PWM. Now that PWM, I will put it in the serial window. Now let us see what is the value of serial window. See, now it is 255. So 0 to 1023 is now scaled to 0 to 255. See, are you seeing this? Or you can use a simple mathematical formula. That is not a very big deal, but this map function will do the job exactly for you. So that's what I'm trying to explain. This PWM is what I am supplying to analog write. So in the analog write function, I take this PWM and connect this here. Now, whatever I read from this potentiometer, I supply in the motor's output terminal. Maybe I can just I pull this fellow and put it here somewhere in the very close proximity. So if you run this, so you can see that as I decrease the potentiometer is 0. So the analog value is 0. The digital value is 0. So the pot value is 0. The pot value is giving me a 0 PWM. The analog write of 0 is again giving me 0 RPM. So as I gradually increase the potentiometer, you can see that the RPM is increasing gradually. So I'm just controlling the RPM by giving an input to the user. That's what I'm doing here. See, so the RPM increasing from 0 to, if I give a maximum PWM of 255, it reaches the highest PWM, which is 17552 for this motor. So you can see the PWM as 255 here. So if I want 50% duty cycle, I'll keep the motor, I'll keep the potentiometer somewhere between 0 to 128. I'll just put it somewhere in 127. So this is 127. So that is 50% duty cycle. So this is giving me 50% of the RPM. 25% duty cycle is 62. So 0 to 61 is 62. That is 25% of the speed. 0 RPM means 0 speed. So this is giving an input to the microcontroller. The microcontroller reads that input, accordingly generates the PWM output. Okay.